for Black girl nerds.
I'm very excited to talk to you today, Josh, because I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
the cloak and dagger that surrounds a film release.
I
With
also love Cloak and Dagger, the Marvel characters.
it is the best thing going. We with the New Mutants, we know that there are going to be references to X-Men, but it really is its own standalone universe. What is the major key to differentiating these new characters as compared to what we know from the X-Men historically?
Well, I mean, it's in that regard, but I guess it's also tone and aesthetic. It's like this shares more in common with my other films than you would think. I mean, it's always been a performance-driven and character-driven teen drama that has horror elements. It's got a romance in it. I really wanted to make a movie for teenagers again. I grew up watching these movies where I saw myself represented at that age, and it's just there's not any of them in theaters anymore. So even when you go see a Marvel movie, it stars adults.
Mhm.
We really wanted to make a movie that teenagers could go see where they would be represented in a movie experience that was as big as a Marvel movie, but it still has all the things that drew me to it, which were like I was raised by a very religious family in Virginia, and Rain in this series was, oppressive religious upbringing. So
Mhm.
those sort of things interested me, and like we were very much my co-writer and I, who I grew up with in Virginia. We've been best friends since the day we were born. Our moms are best friends. We went to church together when we were kids growing up. We were sort of outsiders in a lot of ways. So it's like, we put a gay romance into the movie that was very much based on sort of a telepathic relationship the girls had in the comic.
Mhm.
And that was important to us. And all these things that we weren't seeing in movies, we just are sort of delighted we were able to get them through the system, even though of all the upheaval with the merger, everything, and be able to get it out unscathed is a miracle in a lot of ways.
I was super excited to read in the notes before today that you love the movie The Lost Boys.
Oh,
Growing
yeah.
up, that's also a favorite of mine. Do you know I
Yeah.
interviewed Jason Patrick right before I'm talking to you?
You did? Is he
Coincidence. He looks
still
great.
is he still awesome?
He's still awesome. He still looks a little grayer as we all get, but he
we
looks super duper awesome.
I remember when Nate and I were kids, our parents would sometimes get together at one of their houses at night, and like the kids would go off and do their own thing, and the parents would go have a glass of wine and eat dinner, and we
Mhm.
would be jamming cassette tapes to try to tape Lost Boys off HBO without them knowing that we had taped it. Because, dude, I mean, Lost Boys was the end all be all. It was the coolest looking movie. It had kids in it in a comic book store who fought vampires. Like,
Yep.
that movie is one of the greatest movies of the 1980s. I think, for my money.
I I totally agree. That's a super duper favorite of mine too. With this film, we're going to see some heroic, some horror. What How do you marry those two in a time when most superheroes are valiant and pillars, and how do you marry those two concepts?
Ours are sort of scared and terrified most of the time. Anya's character is the one who's sort of the most tailor made to already be a superhero, because she has a much more traumatic backstory than the already traumatic backstories of the other characters. But man, it's like we wanted it to be a little bit more in that Stephen King vein, like Firestarter and
Mm.
Carrie, where the powers were sort of more nightmarish to have, and where they'd hurt people with these powers, that they didn't think of them as heroic things that could be used for heroics at all. Uh, Everybody in this facility has killed someone either accidentally or intentionally. Uh, them dealing with the trauma of what they've done in the past is sort of the heart of the movie. In a lot of ways, it's a little more serious in that way than you would think. Uh, I'll bring it back to what you were asking me. I'm trying to think of where you wanted me to go.
No, I mean, that answered the question for me perfectly. And I see they're
Okay.
giving me the hook over there. So I thank you for your time so
Man,
much.
thank
I'm
you for your
super
time.
looking forward to talking. And he looks awesome.
Oh, good. Lost Boys.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for Black girl nerds. Better shake your booties for Black girl nerds.